Now we're going to talk about the different types of solutions that you can get as you're solving linear equations. So I'm going to kind of throw in a wrench to your thinking. Will you always end up with one solution when you solve an equation? For example, on all of your assignments so far, as you've solved an equation, you end up with one answer. Something like x equals 2 or a equals -4. Okay, you always have ended up with one answer that looks like this. So the question is, will you always have one answer? Well, that's kind of a leading question. Hopefully you recognize that the answer is no, not always. You won't always end up with just one answer. But that's what you've seen so far. On all of your assignments so far, you've only seen one answer for each linear equation. And that's what I've wanted you to see so far. But now that you guys have learned so much and you're so smart with all these different skills that you've learned, it's time to see the different types of answers that you could get. So here they are. First of all, you could get one solution, which is what you're used to seeing. So for example, if you get an equation and you simplify it, you get all of your x's on one side and all of your constants on the other side, you might end up with an answer that looks like this, x equals 10. That's an example of an equation that has one solution. Okay, so you're used to these ones. The new ones, you might get an equation that will have no solution. For example, there's no number that you can plug in for x that will make the equation true. So as you're solving your equation, you'll end up with something that looks like this. This is just an example. You'll end up with something that's like 4 equals -2. Well, 4 does definitely not, that's good, does not equal -2. That's not true. This is kind of nonsense. And so when we end up with an answer like this that's not true, that tells me that the equation has no solution. And finally, the last possible answer is there might be infinitely many solutions. There could be a plethora of numbers that you could plug in for x that would make the equation true. And as you're solving the equation, as you get to the end, you'll wind up with an answer that looks something like this. Maybe you'll get 5 equals 5, or you'll get 0 equals 0. Both of these statements are true, but they don't tell me anything about what x equals. So when I get a true statement like this that doesn't involve an x in it, it tells me that my equation has infinitely many solutions. Okay, in the upcoming lesson videos, I'm going to show you examples of what each of these types of equations look like. So go ahead and move on to those now.